Oh my God. It's nights like this that I go, why am I watching this shit? And then I remember it's because one of us made a deal with the devil and said they wouldn't watch The Bachelor until they had a Black Bachelor. Enter Matt James, and here we are watching this bullshit. And thank God there's only one more week to go.
One more week and we're done.
How'd you feel about today's episode, man?
Okay, so I got some real shit about this episode.
Okay.
When Matt met up with his dad,
Mm-hmm.
At first I thought this is awkward. Like, I feel like this is a conversation that I shouldn't be in. Like, I'm at a restaurant and I'm sitting at a table where next to me is another table where they're talking about some real shit that I can hear, and I'm like, this is really awkward. But I'll admit on the real, it touched me because I had that same conversation with my dad years before he died. And so I get it, right? All this time I've been judging him like, what's his big deal, right?
You
and
sure
I get
have.
it.
Very
I have. I'm like, what's your big deal? He had a single mom and whatever. But I really get that. And I thought that on the positive side of the beginning of the episode, I thought that was a good example of what men who grew up without their fathers around, if they had a chance to have that conversation, that's exactly what it should look like. Because I've been there and I've done it. And it was a conversation around the exact same topics. And so I thought it was really good. It touched me. And I'll admit, I got a little misty because my father passed away. But I'm so glad that I had that conversation with him before he got to that point. And so I'm like, okay, I get it. I feel good about that. Outside of that, the dates I thought they were great dates. Everything I thought was great. I mean, I think it was a great episode compared, no drama. What I thought was odd is like every time, the girls came back, the other girls sit on the couch and they see that glow and that smile. And I just believe girls know when one of their friends comes back to the apartment or to the house, to the dorm. If you think about our college days, you knew you hooked up. And they got that look, they got that glow that they kind of hooked up. And so I thought that was funny. And then when they asked Michelle had the first date, she comes back, so what did y'all do? Again, do you really want to know what we did?
That's the whole thing about asking questions that you really don't want the answers to. I think we covered that on episode 26. Yeah,
Yep.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Yeah.
Because if you say, well, what'd y'all do? Well, whoo, girl, he knocked my boots till they turned to flip-flops.
They walking in the house. Last night, I made love for the very, very first time.
You'll be mad. What you mad about?
Yeah.
You asked. You
asked.
asked.
You knew what they did. Don't even
answer.
ask.
Exactly.
But the question is like for Rachel, so you had Michelle was the first date. Bree was the second date. And let me just say, and I know I say this often, I've said this a lot during this whole Black Bachelor that I don't like to say you're right. But tonight I finally saw, I'm like, oh, Bree is bad. Like, Bree is amazing.
It took you
so
all these episodes.
It took me a while because Serena P is still better than Bree, in my opinion.
Not at all. But go ahead and tell everybody
what Serena P is better than Bree.
Tell everybody what you text me.
But I said Bree's bad. I think she's a bad chick.
So
I think she's beautiful.
Frog hair.
Yeah, she's fine as frog hair. That's what I said. Bree is fine as frog hair. I went old school. I did say that. But so first date was Michelle. Second date was Bree. Third date was Rachel. And so when Rachel was sitting there crying, I'm like, are you crying because you're about to be sloppy thirds? Because you know you're about to be. Like, that's the crazy thing about this whole Bachelor thing. It's like, you know that the other two stayed the night. And I'm sure that Matt, and maybe, here's the thing, we all are assuming Matt could have been a gentleman and they just could have, cuddled. They could have just spooned. Or maybe Matt was like that that one teacher we talked about in episode 26 that's just gonna stand up and just
that was 25.
25. Episode 25. I've been drinking. I got a drink when I watched The Bachelor, so I've been drinking.
I can tell.
Thank you.
Well, the thing about Rachel crying and just getting all misty eyed about this, I'm like, Well, they're giving her all the TV time. But here's the thing I noticed about this, too. That's how I knew she would survive today. They gave her a lot of TV time, plus other things, which I said from the first episode of this Black Bachelor, I said she would survive. Not her specifically, but, we'll get there. Anyway.
Her pigment would survive.
Whatever. So the thing that I thought that was really funny, though, was as they're doing all these, we're going into the suite, and all these shots, I'm just like, you know how uncomfortable that's got to be? Because, all right, stay right there. So we're going to back the camera out, and I want you to lean over the bed and hold her. And that's what's going through my mind as I'm looking at this, because it's so soap opera-ish. It's so happily ever after romance novelish, the way they have this thing kind of shot. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. Is this episode over yet? That's the thought that was going through my head the entire episode.
Yeah.
If there's one episode that made me really hate the fact that we were watching this thing the entire time, it was this one. There were a lot of them, but this one. And it's not because of what you're about to say that you think it is, because we all know who got eliminated. Bree got eliminated. Miss Fine as Frog Hair, as you put it. However, before you go saying that I was wrong, because, I know you want to say that so bad, because Serena P got eliminated, who was your number one draft pick. Understand.
Mm-hmm. She self-selected out. Let's just say she didn't get eliminated. She self-selected out. Let's just be correct.
And more power to her. Understand. Bree was my number one draft pick. Obviously not Matt's.
Yeah, Bree was bad, but and bad in a good way. But she was gorgeous, amazing.
Not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good.
Yeah, no, she was great. But I was not. There's something about Michelle that I'm just kind of not feeling. But when I watch all the different episodes, I still stand by. I think Matt is gonna pick Rachel, because that's the only one he said he's in love with. I thought when Michelle left the suite and he went out the window and he's like, Michelle, I thought he was gonna be like, I love you. I was like, oh, that's kind of romantic and dope. But he was just like, that means no.
Well, that's like when she went, I'm gonna say it because I just feel it and I just want you to know I love you. And he goes
he's like, oh, that's awesome. Oh,
that's cute.
Can I walk you out?
Hey, let's. The word of this one was like, "You ready to get out of here?"
Yeah. Yes. Every time you ready to get out of here, I'm like, that's some. I wish I'd have seen this back in my 20s. If they had this show and this whole episode, I've learned a lot. Be like, hey, I'm not really feeling this. Can I walk you out? I'm like, that's dope. And then it's like, hey, you ready to get out of here? Like, you know what that means.
Every time he used that line, it worked. Nobody went, I'm not quite sure. Or,
yeah.
You know what? I want to wait till dessert. They were all like, no.
I want one more drink. Never happened.
Bring the bottle.
Yeah. No. Once I finish this bottle, then we can talk about, can you walk me out?
So, see, you did learn something from Matt James at the start of this whole journey.
I wish I'd have met Matt James at this age 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. I'd probably be a different man. But the highlight of this episode, if I say what was the best thing about this episode,
go ahead.
20 years ago, I'd have been 12?
No, he would have been 12.
I said met Matt at this time 20 years ago. In other words, Matt's this age. 20.
I know. Go ahead.
Why do we do this?
Go ahead.
This hasn't stopped since college that we do this.
Continue, please.
Jesus. The highlight of this episode is, I think, Matt's conversation with his dad. Mm-hmm. I really think there's some power behind that. Unfortunately, majority of women are the viewers. So the men that probably need to see that shit didn't see it. But any single moms out there, let your kids watch that and let them have that conversation when they reach the right age to ask and understand kind of what happened if y'all didn't work out. It's powerful. They need to learn from it. So I think that was the highlight of this episode. Outside of that, I've been saying this whole time he's going to pick Rachel. So
Let's be clear. You have not been saying this whole time because your whole time was Serena P until she self-opted out.
Serena P was my favorite, and she still is. But out of all the girls, there's only one that he said, I think I'm falling in love with you, and that has been Rachel. And ever since he said that, I'm like,
ever since he said that,
Rachel.
you have. I will give you that. Ever since he said that, you have been saying that.
Yeah.
However,
I was rooting for Serena P.
Yes, of course, because that was the number one draft pick. Just like I was rooting for Bree, she was the number one draft pick, and I was rooting for her and rooting against her because I didn't want to see her with Matt James. Sorry.
Well, I just put it out there, Serena P, you should have won, in my opinion. If you ever want to get together and have a drink, I'm happy to, You know, I don't mind watching. I don't mind watching hockey with you, We can totally do that.
And I'll see all the Canadian Maple Leafs in the room,
Yeah. And I'll count the right leaves, because I understand.
Oh my God! Well, it's down to Michelle. It's down to Rachel. You think he's going to pick Rachel?
I do.
I tend to agree with you on this one. That he is going to pick Rachel, and However, before you go get all excited,
no. Can you just save me a small video of you just saying, I tend to agree with you, and that's it. Just cut that off and send that to me, and that way I can just play that daily. Because that's just
we don't cut
awesome.
anything off around here. But the other thing I was going to say... So the other thing I was going to say is, I agree with you on this just for the simple fact that I think he's going to pick Rachel. We know he's going to pick Rachel, right? You knew that when he said that he think he was falling in love with her. That's the only one he said that to.
Yep.
I said when the show started, he was going to pick a white woman. I said that. So therefore, since I picked first, I win. Now, of course, if he picks Michelle, we both lose, but, whatever.
Well, let me ask you this. Michelle's half white. Mm-hmm. So would you still win?
What? If Michelle wins?
If Michelle wins, Michelle's half white. Would you still win?
I'll tell you why I wouldn't win if Michelle wins. Because, and if I remember correctly, and I'm going to check the tapes, you said that he was going to pick somebody of mixed race. So, if he picks Michelle, but if it said black, I would have given Michelle too. So, either way, I would say if he picks Michelle, you would win this one. But you already picked Rachel.
So, if Rachel is Italian and Irish, which is mixed race,
yeah, no, it's
would
mixed.
I still be
white.
right?
It's mixed white. That's going. Oh, look, she's German and Swiss. Nice try. That's
messed up. That's messed up. But I don't even want to add on to that. But that's messed up.
She's Austrian and Russian. Well, look, we've got one episode left to go, man.
One more week.
Can't wait till it's over. Honestly, I really can't.
Yeah.
I know next week is gonna drag for 2 friggin' hours. I think I'm gonna tune in at 9:55 next week just to see the end. I don't care about the first hour and 55 minutes. I'll be honest. So I'm going to lean on you for what happened in the show.
I'm going to watch all the deets because I committed and I'm invested in this. And I hope that you watch all the details because you committed. Because in the very beginning, first episode, we said,
watching this bullshit too. Jesus
we ride together, we die together.
No.
Yeah. Don't miss out on me on this.
Okay, bad boys for life. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
we're going to finish it. We started it. We got one more week, one more episode. You can hang for 2 hours, and then we'll never watch a reality show together again. Pinky swear on that. No, we're never going to watch a reality show together again.
We will.
No.
Yes, we will.
A few episodes ago, I said, let the record show that I'm not doing that again.
No, but
so it's documented.
Nope.
It's documented.
Nope. Let me hang this shit up.